March the 14th, Ukraine media centers operating. Your anchor is Svetlana Cheperenko. We are focusing on today on fuel market expertise and what are driving the prices in the current year. We'll be also be talking about forecasts. We are talking to Serhii Kuiun, the fuel market expert. Welcome, sir. What we are seeing is that the prices are going down at the gas stations, which is a good news for the consumers. This is something we expected, and it's a good thing. But how do you explain such a decrease in prices? In the first place, the oil prices have made us wonder. Let me remind you that we started this year with the price of $75 per barrel. In about fortnight's time, it was 10% plus, up to $72. Today, the price is $70, which is to say the price is going up and then goes down almost by 15%. Correspondingly, it has brought down the decrease in prices. I hope we will see more dramatic signals. What I am saying is this: for 2 months running, now we have seen 2.5 months, and we have seen 15% increase and 15% decrease. This is to say how difficult it is to forecast the developments over the year. This is what happens to us when we wake up every morning and see the news. We don't know what's going to happen, but we are watching the political developments. In the first place, what's going on in the United States, and the main trigger here is the politics of the United States. It's difficult to have a crystal ball here, but my take is that at the end of the day, the market doesn't have a potential for growth. That is to say, resources are available, and there are forecasts that the United States is likely to increase the extraction. And these are the factors. If the raw materials are available, we'll see the range of $70, $65, which is a good thing for us. Such a range, if the prices get fixed on level of $70, we will see that the prices here will fall by 2.5 hryvnias. And secondly, it'll be a dramatic blow to Russia, a country whose military budget is dependent on the oil prices, and such resources will go down. The $70 price, now Russians are offering discounts, and because of the sanctions, they are made to take advantage of the long, inefficient legislation routes. And the consumers understand where Russia is and that it has been driven into the corner, and they are asking for discounts for these raw materials. Russians are likely to be paid 50% or less, which is an uncomfortable price for the Russian deposits, meaning that they will likely go into the black. Perhaps the prices will decrease further. Perhaps it's a wishful thinking. But in reality, the American enterprises are limited. The extraction in the United States is quite expensive. They don't have such deposits that are equal to Saudi Arabia, where 50 to 20% is a cost of production. Cost of production in the States is quite high, and this will also be driving the prices down. In terms of Ukrainian realities and the prices for gas here, regionally speaking, how does it differ in the capital city and other regions? In fact, there is no difference in national networks. The price is a unified one. Whether it's in Mykolaiv, Lviv, or the capital city, you will see no difference in prices. For example, a city of Kharkiv, which is the farthest point of deliveries. Everything goes here, goes from the western frontier. So to get something to Lviv and to have them delivered to Kharkiv, the price for the delivery will be 2 hryvnias at least. But the traders make sure that the prices are stable. The traders are compensating for such costs. So I can't tell you for sure that there is a price difference throughout the country. Geographically speaking, what can you say about the imports in general? What changes have we seen? It is safe to say that last year was the year of stabilization of the new system of deliveries that was set in 2022 in the wake of the full-scale invasion. What we are seeing that the system is there. It has remained intact. 70% of deliveries coming from the southern trend, we call them Romanian ports. And the other direction is the western track. Things we receive up to 90% through the territory of Poland, plus Slovakia. Polish trend is German, Latvian, and Polish ports. All those deliveries are coming through the Polish border. The only thing of a surprise is that we've seen a new product deliverer, a German factor, for example, something we didn't expect or imagine. That American diesel, all right, diesel from Kuwait was a given. But we've seen now the German petrol deliveries. It's not a major supplier, but it's a third one after Romania and Poland. And we've seen this development because there is an overproduction in Europe. So the manufacturers of petrol are searching for new markets. And for them, Ukraine has been such a surprise, as we saw Germany as a surprise deliverer of petrol here. The volume of German deliveries is growing. It means diversification in terms of price tags and optimization of prices. And we see the more diversified system of deliveries, meaning that the system is stable. This spring, starting 1st of May, both wholesale and otherwise, there's a new rule about the 5% rule of the petrol. How will that impact the quality and the prices? On the one side, there is no rocket science in it. In Europe, it seems that such an addition of 7% is a must. It must be there. This is the minimum, both in terms of diesel and petrol. In the states, including the Latin America region, what we call E85 type of fuel is a given, which is to say that any intrusion into the fuels brings risks. It requires a high technology culture, if I may say so. One, it requires facilities. You have to have the warehouses, ensure the level of mixture and the conditions. The second point are the components that are being used. To be honest here, there are a lot of risks here. Why am I not welcoming this development, to be honest with you. What we are saying is 2 days ago, the fuel base in Odessa was attacked, which is to say that the fuel warehouses are the targets for the Russian army. Such a program pushes for the creation of such facilities to mix the petrol. How will they do this? One of the ways is to take the spirits and to mix them with the produced petrol. Such a blending requires a lot of capabilities. In fact, the state pushes us to seeing such risks. I don't think that this is the call of the day. Okay, the agrarians were lobbying for this program because they are producers of alcohol. Secondly, the quality. This is where we are running a lot of risks. How do we live up to this legislation requirement? We can import such petrols from the traditional sources, Romania, Germany, Poland, and Lithuania. We can purchase the ready-made petrol, not to produce such capabilities here in the country. But it's not that simple. Not everybody is ready to live up to these requirements. Such a requirement, 5%, does not add up with the European practices. For example, they add up to 7%. To go down to 5%, you need to have different reservoirs, different production lines, meaning a lot of money invested. But the main thing is this: where is the benefit for the agrarian sector? This will be a benefit thing for the agrarians in Poland, Romania, and elsewhere to bring such a type of fuel to Ukraine. The other way to follow is to produce such a petrol and fuels in Ukraine, facing all the possible risks. I have been always wondering at such an initiative. The members of the parliament, the agrarians, have this primitive vision of the process. They believe that to produce the alcohol petrol, you have to have a some spirits, alcohol, pushed into the fuel carrier, and it'll get blended on the way. It's not the way it works. You have to have a mixture that lives up to the requirements. Once you go into that process, you see the level of oxygen will go up, and it will condition the malfunction of the motors, because the high-end motors are controlling the level of oxygen. If oxygen parameters are breached, it'll ruin the fuel system of a vehicle. I don't see why such a thing should have been done today. I think to start with, there will be complaints, there will be grievances, or the producers will not follow the procedure. It's a complicated procedure. Once you have done something, you have to have a laboratory to sample them, to test whether these norms are lived up to. Once you fail to do so, you have to do something. I know the industry well. I don't see that nationally we have more than 2 or 3 laboratories that will be able to test. I think they will be buying and purchasing a ready-made petrol abroad. Then I don't see why all this fuss was initiated. There is no benefit for the agrarian sector. Do I understand you correctly that there are risks for consumers, for the owners of the cars? Of course, you're right. We are seeing problems today to bring in a good type of petrol to the gas station. The quality is the constant issue and point of grievances. You see all the issues. This car will not start, this engine will not begin working. There are standards that have to be lived up to at the gas station. We are told today you have to do more. Honestly, I am very concerned about the whole situation. I think we are likely to see some glitches, and it'll take some time for some people to have flirted enough with this project to realize where the issue is. I'm sure that larger networks will do their best to pay more. It'll be a more expensive petrochemical. What the smaller networks will do, I'm not sure, but they are likely to pay more to purchase the petrol abroad. The LPG car fuel, what are the trends here? The situation with the LPG car fuel is complex, and it's complex because for the consumers, it's quite unusual to see such a tag price. Today's price for the last 6 months is quite high relative to petrol, and it is conditioned by the fuel excise tax rate. The tax rate was introduced on the 1st of September last year, and the second one was the beginning of this year. Summarily, the fuel excise tax rate has grown for 6.4 hryvnias per liters at the gas station. The price for a liter has gone up by 8 hryvnias. Compare that given all the tax rates for petrol, the price has not gone as much. For diesel, the increase was 2.5. That is to say, the LPG car fuel has been more expensive compared to other fuels. It's a foreseen rational result. Why is it? We see the contrast. The gas for 15 years was very and relatively cheap. The state, in fact, was helping the LPG car fuel industry. It was funded by the state budget. We are seeing this transitory period, and such a transition period may be painful for some, although I have not seen a lot of grievances or issues. LPG was very unfortunate. Tax rates have grown, and secondly, the purchase price is very high. And purchasing price is high because since December last year, the embargo went into place, the European embargo on the deliveries of the Russian LPG. And as a response, the Polish products, who were the largest deliverers, and they were made to search looking for new markets to cover up for these losses. Poland is a most major deliverer of LPG fuel gas, and they were selling out the Russia-produced LPG through the forging of documents and so on. So the deficit is there, plus tax rate resulted in such a price going up. Once the purchases politics are stabilized, we'll see the 60% difference with the petrol price, which will be quite a sensible price for the users of the LPG car fuel, which is a universal trend, 50-55% as compared to fuel. For the agrarians, I don't see any shortages there. Now, what do you think the demand is likely be? The shortage is something we haven't heard for some time. Over the last year, we've seen a reverse situation. We've seen a surplus of fuels. As a result, wholesale traders sometimes go bust because they have purchased quite expensive thing. The price has gone down. As a result, you are bursting, you are bankrupt. So the volumes for the agrarians is a thing already settled. We are able to deliver today 50% more than we really need. There is no issue here. In the terms of the price, we will see what the world trends will be. It will be affecting the situation in Ukraine. We heard rumors about the excise that will be detrimental to agriculture. The excise has grown by 4 hryvnias. The price has gone up by 2.5 hryvnias. I don't see there is a disastrous situation. But we tend to forget when we hear that why should we start all the things? People are suffering. 100 million hryvnias every day come to the budget through the new excise tax rate. This is the most important thing. This goes to the government coffers, and this is a way to fund the war effort. You see, we are all in this together. We are in the boat of doing our best to mobilize the taxation system and to ensure the effective use of these monies for the purposes and needs of the Ukrainian armed forces. This is the main thing and the main task. Let me remind you that the only source of funding Ukrainian armed forces is the state coffers. What we are receiving, and we are thankful for this, from abroad is only for social needs, but paying for the war effort comes from the state budget of this country. As for the demand, do you think this year will see the same level of demand? We are seeing, following the so-called debt season, and that season means the month of January and February, where the demand is very low. The balances, for example, for diesel fuel have gone down as much as 20%. We need more time to be more confident. But I see and feel that there is a demand going down. I wouldn't know why the demand should increase. The economy is in stagnation. People are not getting richer. It's a natural trend. The issue is how far the fall will go. Winter is not an indicative period. We've seen a lot of activities in the markets. We are seeing the time that is closing in of planting, and I think we've touched the bottom of demand. Compared to 2021, in terms of petrol, we have lost up to 20% diesel, about 10%, 12% on LPG, 40% there. So the fall is quite significant. The diesel has seen the least felt effect because businesses are using diesel. And second factor is the ports have been neutralized, disaffected railway is also restricted because of the different railway standards. We've seen the increase of the vehicle transportation of the fuels. So its situation there is stable overall. Once we've seen the fall in demand, I believe it will be in the range of 2 to 3%. There is no dramatic tragedy here. Sir, thank you very much. We've been talking about the situation in the fuel market of Ukraine. Media Ukraine Center will resume our activities come next week. Stay with us. Thanks.